Hi everyone, I'm Nathaniel and now I'm going to talk about the square root functions, including its domain, range, and function itself, plus the graph and transformations for them. So first of all, let's look at the important vocabulary and concepts for the square root function. So the square root function is defined to take any positive number x as the input and return the positive number y, which would have to be squared to get x. So this is the definition for the square root functions, which tells you what square root functions are. Then let's look at the general form for the square root function. Y equal a multiply square root x minus h plus k. This is the general form for the square root functions. In this general form, as we can see here, there are like several terms. There are a, h, and k. You might be wondering what they represent. So a is the slope of a function. So as you can see, the graph shown on the right, the way that it goes, this is what A represents on the graph. And for h and k, that is the beginning point of the function. So let's look at the graph. The beginning point is 0, 0, which is the origin. So that means h and k both are 0 in this case. And then the square root function can also be written as y equal x, which has a power 1/2. Why there is something like this? This is just like mathematics stuff. So y equal x power 1/2 is basically the same as y equal x squared. It's the same thing but different ways to write them. Then let's talk about the domain and range for the square root function. So the domain of the square root function is any positive number. So from the perspective of mathematics, like since x is under the square root, it should only be the positive numbers or 0. So if it doesn't follow this, imagine that the x can only be the imaginary number. It doesn't make any sense. Then we're gonna turn our attention to the range of the square root function. So actually the range of the square root function is any real number. It can be any real number. That means there are no restrictions for the range of the square root function. So after talking about the important vocabulary and concepts, some basic information for the square root function, let's go right into some questions as examples and let's see how we're gonna solve it. So they are the problems with square root functions. So this is a problem 1 and the question is if the graph shown on the right is a transformation of the parent function y equals square root x, what is the equation of this function? So when we are kind of solving this kind of question, we always pay our attention to the starting point and is like y-intercept. So the beginning point of the function y equal like square root x is 0, 0. That's like the basic form for the square root function. But in our case, as you can see, the graph on the right, the origin now is -6, -2, changed from 0, 0, and then the y-intercept is 1/2. This is totally different. It changed a lot. So we need to find the equation after like changing from the original one. So in our case, the beginning point was changed from 0, 0 to -6, -2. So because the beginning point is hk and y equals square root x minus h plus k, our equation is going to be equal to 1 y equals square root x plus 6 minus 2. So as you can see, the answer is basically y equal square root x plus 6 minus 2. This one is like the questions after it is like pretty much same for the first problem. So this is the problem 2. So it asks if the graph shown at the right is a transformation of the parent function y equals square root x, what is the equation of this function? So let's look at the beginning point of the new graph. So as you can see on the right, um, the beginning point now is 5, 4. So in our case, the beginning point was changed from 0, 0 to 5, 4. So because the beginning point is hk, y equal square root x minus h plus k, our equation is going to be equal to y equal square root x minus 5 plus 4. So that is our answer. And for what h and k represent, you just find them through the beginning point. And here is a problem 3. It asks you the graph shown at the right is a transformation of the parent function y equals square root x. What is the equation of the function? So it's almost the same thing, but we just try to like concentrate on it. So for this one, the beginning point of the function y equals square root x is 0, 0. In our case, the beginning point was changed from 0, 0 to negative 4, 1. So because the beginning point is hk and y equals square root x minus h plus k, our equation is going to be equal to y equal square root x plus 4 plus 1. So apparently the answer is y equals square root x plus 4 plus 1. We just find the beginning point and then we are able to figure it out. And here we go into the last question, the fourth one. So it asks you again if the graph shown on the right is a transformation of a parent function y equals square root x, what is the equation of this function? The beginning point of the function y equals square root x is 0, 0. This is like the parent function. But in our case, the beginning point was changed from 0, 0 to, as you can see, the x value is 25 and the y value is negative 30. So because the beginning point is hk and now here h like h represent 25 right now, and for k, which is the y value, it is negative 30 now. So our equation is going to be equal to y equal square root x minus 25 minus 30. So the answer should be y equals square root x minus 25 minus 30. So having finished the all of the problems, and I think you are able to solve it either. And thank you very much for your attention.